Hilda, are you there? All right. Tumushave Immaculate.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm Tumusha Immaculate from Rubirizi District. I do piggery. I've not attended 2 sessions, the last Friday and the Monday. Is it Monday or Friday? But anyway, so far so good. The training is good. The slides are nice. They're educative. Currently, me haven't submitted my exercise because like the Excel part of it, I recorded everything in my book and I don't know how to submit. So the other one, the third slide, the second slide, I didn't read there because of time and everything. So the third slides and exercise, I've seen how to submit. I've tried to answer some questions. Actually, in the comment part of it, that's where I've put some comments and my responses. I don't know if you've managed to see there.
No, unfortunately not. I think the good thing is that since you've been able to respond in your book, I guess we'll just ask you a few questions about lesson 3. Okay, so we'll have just a few questions in a few minutes. Let's just go around the room and hear from everybody else, and then we will start the session with you.
Yes.
Tumushave.
Yeah.
I say let's go around the room and talk to everyone, and then we'll come back to you to start the session asking you questions. You said you have them in the book, so we can ask you the questions anyway, right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Joshua Waigolo. Joshua, are you there? Yeah. Good.
Yes, I'm there, and good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
Sure, I've missed out almost 2 sessions, if I'm not mistaken, 3. But I've been a little bit engaged with so many issues, and also even I looked at your slides, and fortunately, one of the things that you're tackling are under what I'm doing, that is market segment. I'm feeling
Joshua, I'm going to stop you now. Have you looked at the slides of lesson number 3?
Yes, I tried to look through, but I've not been free. I've been engaged even right now.
Okay, Joshua, I'm going to move on from you. Listen, guys, it is very important that you go through the lessons. Otherwise, you see, this is the only one session like this where you're going to have feedback, you're going to have mentors. This program has been put together to help you, right? You need to take initiative. I think the first session we did was around initiative. If you don't go through the lessons, coming onto this session, while it will help you, you miss out on how much more you're able to actually get, okay? So we'll go around the room. Still, my question is just to know how you're doing and see if you've seen slides number 3. And if you haven't looked at lesson number 3 or have not submitted the exercise, I'll just quickly move on. Geoffrey, how are you doing? Omara Geoffrey.
I'm good, David.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Have you looked at lesson 3?
Yeah, I looked at it and I submitted my work. But I was confused. I don't know. We're supposed to submit from the other platform or we send our work through email.
On the Excel sheet.
Yeah, but Omar, the homework you sent it's in Word. You've sent it just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I failed to download that Excel sheet.
That's fine. That's fine. If you did it in Word, it's okay. Just send it to us. Send it to me. Yamongo will put it up in a few minutes and go through it. Thank you very much, Amara. Oh, for lesson 3, there was no Excel. Okay. Mo, do you want to provide some clarification, please? Okay, sorry, the submission was onto the IR platform, yes. Okay, great. Next is John Paul.
Hello.
Yes, John Paul.
Yes, this is John Paul Walker.
Yes.
I managed to download the lesson 3 PDF.
Okay. Okay.
I traveled to the village for a burial, but I managed to read through the notes today. I read through all the notes today. I haven't yet started on the exercise.
Okay. All right. I'll be waiting to see what you submit. Sorry, I made a mistake because I am on the IR platform. I realized Naboth Immaculate, you have shared your answers. Remember, you can go to the IR platform and send your answers even now through the day. Great. Next, Keith. How are you doing, Keith?
Hi, David. I'm cool.
Hi, how are you? Very well, thanks.
About lesson 3.
Yes.
I downloaded the notes and I went through about value proposition, actually how to conduct surveys and get feedback about my product. I've been trying to think through on how to conduct surveys, and I think it's been an interesting because it's at a point where you get to know your product and how my idea and the competition be able to stand out, and for how I can be able to stand out. For lesson 3, for sure, I like the lecture notes. Thank you.
Okay. You did not submit anything onto the IR platform. Why is that?
Yeah, I've been trying to. You see, my idea is a bit mind-boggling. I'm trying to think hard, but I'm sharing shortly in a few or tomorrow. But I was trying to see my competition, and I found out that most of my competitors are some are local farmers and other are not structured. They are like middlemen. So it's not like I have like a brand. Let's say like these people in milk. So I'm trying to write something. I'll need your help. I'll be sending.
It's okay. We will come back to you, Keith, during this particular session, because what's going to happen now is we're going to go through one by one and ask a couple of questions and give you feedback based on those questions. Also respond to any challenges that you may have, so we can quickly run through it. Okay. Yes, Naboth, I noticed that you answered everything on the platform. Asimwe Naboth, are you there? Okay, we'll move on to Jovia Chisache. Hi, Jovia, are you there?
Sorry, good afternoon, David.
Hi, Jovia. So this is simply a check-in. How are you? How is the business? Did you manage to submit your responses to our platform?
Actually, I've not yet submitted, and okay, I had some shortcomings these past days, so I'm trying to do. Actually, I've been doing today. Basically, I've not found any problem. They're okay. Yeah, I guess I'll submit in tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we will take on the feedback session now, going one by one and asking a few questions, and we'll try to do them very quickly. just so we're not spending so much time. So what I'm going to do is just ask you a few simple questions to help us understand, okay? How well you know your customer, how well you've been able to, understand your customer, understand what their priorities are, how you're going to plan your MVP, and lastly, what is your value proposition? There was an interesting bit in the training, which actually was around, which was around the value proposition. The elevator pitch. And I think it would be interesting to see how many of you actually went this far to think through what your elevator pitch was and are able to actually explain it. Okay, so we'll start the first with I think it's Immaculate, because we had you first. No, Hilda, are you there? You said you are writing in your book. Hilda or Rishaba? Hilda or Rishaba, are you there? Okay, so if Hilda won't respond, we'll go to Naboth. Naboth, is your computer working now? Can we start with you?
Yes, very much. Good afternoon, Mr. David.
Good afternoon, Naboth. How are you?
And the team.
Great. So I want to ask, perfect. We noticed that you did respond to the questions on the IR platform. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So I'd like you to quickly speak us through what you learned from your survey, from your customer surveys. Could you please find a more quiet place, Naboth? There's so much background noise where you are.
Okay, I think it's a bit quiet.
Yes, this is better. Please tell us about some of the
Yes.
insights you learned during your survey.
Actually, maybe to start with, during my survey, I discovered that my clients complained about the amount of sugar that I was adding in my product. So I thought that it was enough and it was good, but most of my customers told me that the sugar levels was much. I discovered that during my survey. Then secondly, I discovered that some of my clients were more concerned about the thickness of the product, because when they took the sample of my product, most of them said at least the thickness was good compared to the thickness of other products that they take. So in my production, I didn't think very much that the thickness of the product was much important, but I found out it when I conducted the survey.
Mm-hmm. What are those the main things you found out? Hi, Naboth, are you there? Hello, Naboth? Okay, we lost Naboth. Would anyone like to come on next as we wait for him to come back? Okay, we'll go to Geoffrey. Geoffrey, are you there?
Yes, I'm around.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey. So let's just ask you a few questions to guide you through your experience. And then that will help us give you some feedback on your entire process. The first question is, again, who is your customer?
My customers are these dealers selling watermelon, inclusive the traders dealing watermelon business. Those are my main customers.
Okay, and did you have a chance to speak to them? Did you have a chance to do interviews with them?
Not yet. That's why I'm planning to go on Saturday, make a survey with them.
So, which means you do not know what are the most important differentiators for them? what priorities they have? Do you know that? Would you have you spoken to them in the past?
Yes, I've spoken to them in the past.
And what were their priorities? What are the two things that drive their purchase decision?
First, they need like this sweet watermelon, because there are many different type of variety of watermelon in the market. There's some which are sweet, the others are not sweet. And
so taste is one, and what is the other?
The other one is longevity. How long does it take? Because there are some watermelon, when you bring in the market, the traders complain it does not take long to get spoiled, which gives them a loss. How long does it last? And also the size. People prefer different size. There are some people who need this small size, others need size. That's what yeah.
How do you then manage these priorities within your production? Is it a specific type of watermelon you plant? How do you manage to differentiate yourself?
Now, after knowing that I have a specific type of watermelon that I plant, which has high market compared to the other.
Okay, but how do you then protect yourself? Can't any other person go and plant the same watermelon and bring it to the market?
They do, but now I have connection with my traders, and more so, plantation I bring for them directly from the farm to the traders. We have like a linkage with them.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
Yes.
Yes, Geoffrey.
That's why I was talking. I have to beat my competitors. I have connection with my traders, where every time we'll be linking up. When my watermelon is about, I be checking on them. I said my thing is ready. Can I bring? Yeah.
Okay.
There where I be getting feedbacks, and I be sending for them my watermelon.
Okay, in this relation, yes. Geoffrey, do you not realize that taste, longevity, and size of the watermelon are not core differentiators, because anybody else can bring those in, which means that your biggest differentiator becomes something different. It's the customer service, maybe it is credit services, maybe it's something like that.
I didn't understand that question well.
Okay. You say that you say the top priorities of your target market are taste, the taste of the water, the taste. Well. You said the priorities of your target market are taste, longevity, how long the watermelon lasts, and the size. Okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, any other farmer can do the same thing. Any other farmer can go and grow the same watermelon, because it's not like you have a very specific breed. Okay, which means the one way you can differentiate yourself is either through things like customer service, credit facilities. And this is why I think you need to go and speak to your customers, because when you can understand from them, aside from test how long it lasts and the size, which anybody can do, right? Unless you have a research station that's giving you a different breed. What are the other things that are priorities for them? Okay.
Okay.
Because you need, what is your current value proposition? Why should a customer buy from you?
Currently, my value proposition is like my product. I produce good watermelon. And not only that, not only that, I'm able to supply them with my watermelon to the market, which they find is easy.
You're able to do what?
Supply my watermelon to the market.
Okay, like we're saying, the thing about competition.
When you need, I just bring it to you.
Okay, so that is customer service, okay? Because you see, the thing about watermelon is watermelon. There are a few varieties or a few breeds available in the market. The product is not your differentiator. Your key differentiator is going to be in your service. Either you deliver to the farmer, either it's how quickly, how easily they can reach you. When a product is homogeneous, you need to find a different set of differentiators that makes the customer choose you over the other similar product. So I would like you, and this is a task for you, and I would be looking at the other platforms that respond to this. Please go back, speak to your customers, understand the other things that are priorities for them. And when you do that, you can then differentiate yourself. Because eventually, you're then able to build your elevator pitch. Okay, so let me ask you, Geoffrey, do you have an elevator pitch right now?
Okay. I don't have it.
Because you see, and let me just share my screen here very quickly so I can show this to you. This is what this whole bit is sort of coming to eventually. It is, what is it that you are telling the customer, right? So I'll just share this. Where's my screen? Here it is. Okay. So this elevator pitch, it is why. What is the mission statement? Why you began the company, right? So in this case, for example, you're saying, for farmers in Gulu who don't have access to quality watermelon or something like that, what is it that you do different? Growing big, sweet watermelons is something almost anybody else can do. What is different, right? And then, of course, you respond to the other answers in there. So it's very important for you to do it that way. So please go back, speak to your customers, be able to identify priorities for them as differentiators. And then at that point, you can start to work towards your elevator pitch. Okay.
It's okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Mo, any feedback for Geoffrey?
No, thank you.
All right, great. Okay, next person, I think we'll go to Hilda. Naboth, are you back? Okay, Naboth is on. Rona, are you able to speak this afternoon? Are you in a noisy place so you can actually respond to the questions? Rona Virabwa. Tumushabe Immaculate, do you want to unmute yourself and let's discuss your answers, like you said?
Yes.
Great,
On, you can. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Immaculate. So I want to ask you, first of all, very quickly, you said, what is your product and who is your customer?
Actually, it's just I do piggery, so most of the times I sell pigs, not like I don't process anything. And my customers, most especially, are hotels around and the community. People who have pork joints and the hotels, because we have a variety of hotels around Release.
Okay, and what is their top priority? What is it that they, what have you learned from them in terms of what they need?
Yeah, specifically what I've learned, because in Release here, many people have large white and La Cambraf, and actually that's why I also have in my farm. So when I try to ask them around what do they need from me, like the best thing they can need from me, I found out that they always take large white because it is kind of large as the name suggests, and it is resistant to diseases. And when you go to the hotel part of it, of course, pork is always pork, it is always sweet. So I don't there I didn't ask much because I just sell them. They slaughter and take. I get some boys of mine, they slaughter and take pork, as in how it is. So I didn't go there deep. So I asked the communities where they always get breed from me. I get the piglets, or where I sell the piglets. So that was like, what do you prefer about between Cambraf and large white? They told me they prefer large white so much than the Cambraf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In this case, what would be your main differentiators?
I beg your pardon?
What is your two main differentiators?
Yes. What are, can I hear you well?
What is your main?
Or you've softened the question.
Okay, what makes you different from anybody else selling pork in Rumizi?
Yes, as I've told you, I can't have much, and because I always supply, they're always ready. I always have at the farm, I always have. And another thing, I have some good connection with the managers around. So I make sure that I go and visit what's wrong, what's not going on well. And I get some vets. I really make a lot of research about any problem or diseases concerning my animals. And really, all I can say, it's good connection I have between people and good relationship I have with people around.
Okay, I'd like to use your business as an example for everyone else, and I want to show you something here very quickly. One of the parts of the training speaks about you identifying the main the main metrics, the main priorities that your clients have, and people don't realize that. And I'm happy that you've actually realized that. And I want to speak about this because this is what gives you your competitive advantage, okay? And many times people don't seem to see it. So I'll first share this screen here just to explain this to you, okay? You know, for you to be able to satisfy your customers, you must understand your customer and their two most important priorities. Now, what you're saying is very interesting because you may not realize this, but one of your, while pork or pigs are a common product, okay?
Yes.
You have found that your customers need reliability because they want to know that when I call you, you have, okay?
Yes.
And that's a problem. And the other challenge that you may have, or the other priority that you may have identified is, of course, what do you call it? Customer service, okay?
Yes.
So yes, while many people like you have probably have pigs in their backyard, they are not reliable. So customers are not sure that if I call, I know Keith may not be a competition. If I call Keith and today Keith doesn't have and he has tomorrow, it will affect my business because you are B2B, right? So reliability and customer service, for example, may be your main differentiators. And that's what you put on the two axes. Let me just show this to you very quickly, because I don't know how many of you actually were able to get this done. But let me just share my screen in a minute. Okay, it is quite rough, but I guess you'll understand. Because this screen asks you to share, to develop something like this to help you. And it says that your business should be up here, top right, okay? So for example, I'm just trying to do this as we go so you get a feel of it. Let's say high availability, okay? And I don't know if this makes sense. Do you understand what I'm showing you here?
Yes, you are trying to get.
Yes, I'm trying to help you identify what your differentiators are, because your differentiators are going to eventually feed into, of course, your MVP and feed into your value proposition and feed into your elevator pitch. Okay, so in this case, let's say there should be a better word for this, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. And then here you write, for example, live supply. So people who are giving live pigs, which is a bit of a bother. And let's say you have dressed. I don't know what you call it. Is it dressed like chicken? I think. Okay. I'm not sure if it's the same. But then this this is your key differentiator. You have high availability and you're always able to do, you provide, fully packaged, cut up, sliced pork to the customer. That puts you here, right? Now, what happens, what's very interesting is that when you're going to communicate with your customer in your value proposition, as a business, you say, we will guarantee that we shall be able to supply you pork no matter when you need it, of whatever quantities you require. We are actually something like, we are the only company in Rubizi which can give you constant supply of pork, of dressed pork at any time you need it. And that's your value proposition. I don't know if you had gone ahead to define your value proposition.
Yeah, value proposition. I didn't go there. I think I've not, what I wrote, it wasn't like in line with it. So thank you very much. At least I've learned something from you.
It's not in line because you have to differentiate your business from the next company, especially because pork is homogeneous. It's the same as any other pig. The difference here is how you package yourself. That is what you sell to the customer. That's how you begin to grow your business, okay?
Yeah.
All right, please go ahead and try to work on your value proposition, and then please work on your elevator pitch, because your elevator pitch is a statement that you use to sort of sell your business to your different stakeholders. Mo, do you have any feedback for Immaculate?
Yeah, no.
No,
you can be stopping there for now. Huh?
Okay,
sorry?
Thank you. No, thank you, Immaculate. That's fine. I was asking if Mohammed had anything for you. Great. Next, anybody can unmute their microphone and quickly tell us about their product. They're very simple questions we're asking. Have you spoken to your customers? What are their priorities? What 2 priorities differentiate yourself? And then based on that, what's your value proposition? And lastly, if you have, what is your elevator pitch? Because it must encompass all those features that we discussed. Yes, Keith.
Yes, David, thank you. I felt I should chip in because my idea is related to Mushabe's. So
yes.
Who are my customers? To begin with, I identified my customers, number 1, as the fellow farmers in the community, especially the women and the youth that are always intrigued in starting piggery. I already sell them the piglets and everything, and the animals to go and breed at their farms. My other customers, we look at the government, like my Ministry of Agriculture. They normally run a few programs. They come around and buy animals to go and take to different parts of the country. So, like I am sure you've heard of OWC, Operation Wealth Creation.
Yes.
We've supplied them also, we've sold them. Then my other customers are hotels and joints, pubs, hangout places that normally buy pork, which we call carcass weight, not dressed. Who slaughter and we sell, we sell according to the weight as per the kgs you get out. Then the last customers, I'm looking at the bigger picture of exporting in the near future, exporting pork, because there are some countries that don't have the pork and they always are sending their orders, and we a couple of times fail to satisfy their orders because of availability. So what will make me stand out? I'm thinking, as I was talking to my customers, doing my survey, people are mindful about their health as of today. They no longer want to eat fatty meat. People are interested in lean meat. So what will make me stand out is to be able to grow pork that is non-fat, which is lean and organic, because people are mindful about their health. They don't want this pork that is adulterated with vaccines, drugs. So what will make me stand out is to be able to grow pork that is non-fatty, which is organic, and also at any one time, if I get an order, be able to satisfy it. Sorry?
No, that's very good. Those are very good differentiators. But also, you see, you're moving back to a smaller niche customer, and this now experimentation becomes very important, right?
Sure.
So I'd like to ask around.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'd like to ask around, how would you run an experiment about this? Because you see, when you start selling lean cuts, you're moving away from because there's the three business lines, right? Business line number one is the piggery. So it's the piglets business, right? That has its own differentiators. That's number one. Number two is the carcass weight product. That's another product, but the carcass weight product, if I'm correct, is also mixed with the lean pork, because you are saying that your farm produces lean pork. So these are two main products that you're running. So I'd like to ask, how would you experiment around the organic lean pork product?
Organic, a couple of times you send me to these joints that you guys find like in hotels, and they will tell you that they didn't sell off all the pork because it was fatty. So I'll experiment by sending the pork to them to taste and know that really this is about the cambraf, the large white. So if you have the good genes from the start and you develop your piggery, you will be sure that there are some genes that don't produce fat that will always give you lean meat. So that's how I will test that. Then with the, let's say the farmers, the piglets, I'll send the piglets to my customers and maybe get feedback on their growth rate. How fast are they growing? That's how I was thinking about testing my market.
Okay. All right. So just to clarify, what is your value proposition?
My value proposition, tackling the breeding angle and the consumption bit. I'm thinking of the side of consumption. I'm looking at lean, non-fatty meat, pork. Then for the breeding and the farmers, I'm looking at the fast growth. That's what will make me stand out from the other piggery farmers. I don't know if I answered it.
No, it's clear. It's good. I actually think you have a very strong product here, because you have identified a problem very clearly. The problem is most of the meat in the market is fatty, and people there's a limited access to organic lean pork in the market. Your value proposition, your customers are, you've identified them, government, and of course hotels and restaurants. You have a clear value proposition, which is organic lean pork. I think what's interesting, you have a strong enough differentiation because of you've identified the fact that you can create organic lean, pork piglets as a breed as well, supply to customer market, and you have reliability to produce as much as is required, which is very strong. I think for me, really right now is going out and testing this out. I like the idea of saying you would send a product to some of these locations to try out, and some of the pigs. I think you want to think more around your MVP, find a way to get the most research, the most responses from your customers to make sure it works properly. And of course, a lot of it is really around marketing. Good, very good. More, any feedback for Keith?
How much equity are you going to give me, Keith? Did we talk about
Sorry?
How much equity are you going to give me?
Equity.
Yes. So Keith, just remind me of the process you did to arrive at these conclusions. You didn't do surveys, right? You didn't distribute surveys. Did you do interviews? Did you talk to anyone?
Yeah, I talked to my clients. Actually, over the weekend, that's how I moved to one of the joints that I normally supply, and I got all these ideas after reading lesson 3, and I asked them, what pork do you really like? They told me we no longer want fat. When you give us fat, it stays, doesn't move, it affects us.
Okay.
So I clients, and I've been,
Is this your customer or end user?
The middle, like the end user is someone who's seated in the restaurant consuming the product, but I was able to talk to the middle, like in the value chain, someone like the hoteliers, not really the end user. Maybe I can tap that really end user.
Yeah, but also I think this is up to you guys, depending on your business. So now this is the customer. This is the person who buys, actually pays you for the product, but it's not the person who consumes the product. It's not the end user.
Yes.
So if you have access to end users in that area, that's perfect, because then you can even tell the customer things that they don't know, but also the customer will have a lot of insights, like you said, that that they need this. But very good. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you, David.
Great. Just to add, Keith, before we move to the next one, and also respond to the questions in the chat. What I like very much about what you just said now is you've been able to clearly identify differentiation. Okay, and that's the strongest thing about business, especially when products are homogeneous. I probably already said this. So as long as you keep speaking to your customers, also you have enough information around what they don't want, it becomes easy when you're doing your marketing, because you see, when you're doing your marketing, your message now changes from buy pork to lean pork, and that's a differentiation. Your differentiator sometimes is the strongest element that you communicate to the customer, right? Great. John Paul is asking in the group, there's some questions in the chat I'd like to respond to very quickly. Rona is asking, is the assignment only about elevator pitch? No, the assignment is from lesson 3, and you're supposed to respond to the questions that were set out on the IR platform, and you'll see it on top of the page, which asks you, 1, have you done a survey with your customers? Have you spoken to your customers? Building a venture is as important as speak to your customers is one of the most important things about building a venture, because you will understand what they need and what they want. The questions, as you can see, 1 is being able to validate if the customer is really the one you should be speaking to. The second thing is, do they know if you're speaking to, what their problem is, what gaps do they have? The next things that you want to know from them is there a way they are solving this problem currently? Because you are trying to get them to understand. So if you're trying to understand if they have the problem that you think they have, because you might think that people want to buy washing machines, but they're very happy washing their clothes with their hands. So there's no point buying a washing machine, right? And the last thing is, what are their priorities? What is it they want to achieve from a product? Because when a customer buys a product or is interested in the product, it's always interest in the value. You don't buy a washing machine to wash clothes. You buy a washing machine because you want clean clothes. And in the same way with any product you're selling, like Keith was saying a few minutes ago, why a customer is going to buy a particular product is mainly, to buy lean pork is because they want to be healthy. The perceived value is that they are able to live longer and be healthy. Rona, the elevator pitch is the final bit of this process. Because the second you understand your customer, you understand their need, you understand their priorities, you understand your differentiation, and as such, your value proposition, you can then make an elevator pitch, because now you will say, for customers who live here, who want this, we will give them this that helps them achieve that. Okay, that's just to put this very simply for you. It is very important to make sure that the customer understands the value that you are, providing for them. John Paul is asking, can we jump into the shoes of our customers and draft responses for some questions you are asking during the session? Just for learning purposes, I'm asking since I haven't yet been able to do the work. John Paul, I don't understand your question very well, but what I'm going to say is this: you need to go out and speak to some customers and understand whether the problem you're trying to solve is actually a problem they have, and what is different. What do they want, so you can define what value is different for you. If I'm right, John Paul, your business is you're doing urban gardens, and I think over the last few days we're able to define it a little better. You need to ask your customers if they actually have the need to create these urban gardens. You need to ask them how they're doing it currently. Maybe they're happier buying vegetables the way they are buying them. so what's the differentiation? Is there anyone else doing it right now? How are you different? And then, you can continue with your elevator. So I'm not going to go into these questions, but if you look at slide number, and that's probably, if you haven't seen the slides, then you won't know you won't understand what we're saying. So I'm going to ask you to kindly look at the slides to be able to respond to it. I think it's question number, sorry. It's, I'm trying to get to the actual number. This is around, actually slide number 19 has some questions, has some sample questions you could actually ask. Okay, yeah, surveys are on slide number 5 of the exercise. You can look at that and it will guide you. It's a very clear guide on what you should ask. Now both. Okay. Okay, Naboth is writing his points in the chat, so I'll try to give feedback on this. Naboth is explaining his differentiation, and his differentiators are organic flavor. Okay, it's organic because he uses natural flavors, so lemongrass oil that he produces himself. You see, Naboth, you need to answer the question, what are your customers' priorities? Okay, and are these points you're putting across the main priorities they have? Is it the desire for organic flavors? What does the customer want? What are their priorities when they purchase yogurt? So I see thick, so maybe the fact that it's thick is because they want to get satisfied, and that is what you want to give them. So thick and natural flavors, are those the main priorities? It's nice to know what is the competition doing and how different are you from the competition. If you can define that very clearly, then it's easy. It's easier for you to be able to define your value proposition very clearly. Okay, I would like to go to the next person. If you were able to respond to the questions on the IR platform. I see Immaculate and Naboth, I can see your answers. Barista Annette, are you there? Yes, Immaculate, I can see you've responded as well. Are you on the platform? Are you on the call? Yes, Jovia, your hand is up.
Thank you, David. I've done, okay, questions. I think that will be better.
Yes, quickly, who is your customer?
Who is my customer? Pardon, David.
Who is your customer? What is your target customer segment?
So my customer are the people that work in the night shifts, and then the marginalized women, the people that live in tents, those are the refugees. And relating to the survey that I took on, actually most of them had no complaint, only the women are like, the smell, we need some flavors in the lotion and stuff. So basically they were okay with the product. Then how do they call it? The number 2,
Jovia, just quick reminder, you produce insecticide lotions with milk, yes?
Yes, we produce, it's called Sparkle anti-mosquito lotion. And we should I give you the pitch?
No, it's fine. It's okay. We'll come to elevator pitch last. I want us to start from the top, right? Just let me ask you a few questions such that we can list them down. Okay. So you said your customers are refugees, okay? Security guards who work at night and people who go out at night, correct?
Yeah.
What are
Yes.
their main priorities? What are those
Actually,
two things they want?
to the people that work at night, actually, most of them buy it because it's a mosquito repellent.
Okay, so
it has that mosquito repellent bit of it.
What other, how are they currently solving that problem of mosquitoes at night? What are they doing about it?
Sorry?
How are they currently solving that problem?
Actually, most of them are using, some of them are using mosquitoes repellent sprays, and then the other Odomos, I think you know it, then mosquito nets, and we are solving the issue of, okay, Odomos is nowadays scarce and they're no longer buying it because it's even expensive. So ours is a little bit less costly. And to us, we go door-to-door delivery. Like we produce on orders. So we go door-to-door to those main people that that order for the product. Then coming to when the mosquito nets, most people don't want to sleep in mosquito nets, so they often get malaria, yet they have the mosquito nets, but they're lazy and stuff. But here with the lotion, you have to bathe and then use the lotion. So it's
can you see my screen?
A little, yes.
I would like us to define the two metrics, the two priorities that a customer has. One is cost, okay?
Yeah.
So your customer wants a cheaper option and there's an expensive option, right? What is the other metric? What is the other priority that they have? I want to see what is going to put you up here as opposed to the competition. So what's the other priority that they have?
No.
Based on your conversations with your customer.
Oh, the easy accessibility. Because to us, we deliver door to door, like to those people that they call us and then we deliver.
Okay. So do you have, again, you need to be able to find the sort of metric, you need to find priorities that make you stronger. Because you see, door-to-door delivery means it's very expensive. At a low cost, are you making money? Okay. So you need to ask yourself the question, what is the priority that we can clearly differentiate ourselves? Because Odomos can begin delivering door-to-door. In fact, because they have very strong distribution, they're very accessible by the customer almost anywhere. So for you, what are those two things? What is that other thing? So price is one, you're low cost, great. What's the other thing? What other priority that the customers have can you solve? Of course, it is killing mosquitoes, which is, all of the products have that. So what is it that, what else differentiates you?
Actually, ours is mosquito. Oh, sorry. We are ours is environmental friendly. Since we use cell milk, and okay, there are no irritating smells and irritation on the skin as compared to Odomos, because to some people Odomos was making their skin itch and stuff. So ours doesn't have that.
Okay.
Are we
okay, good. So this is a very interesting point, right? If you look at those two metrics, those two priorities that you're talking about, and this is based on conversations you've had with your customers, right? Can you hear me? Hi, Jovia, can you hear me? See, if you go to market and you say your value proposition is that you've produced a non-irritating, low-cost mosquito repellent, that's a very strong.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can now.
Yeah, based on what we've done here, you have produced a non-irritating, natural mosquito repellent that is also low cost. Okay, this can be your main differentiation and could be your value proposition that you take to the market when you communicate. Okay.
I'm getting.
Okay. I suggest that you, Jovia, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I suggest that you spend some more time speaking to your customers just to understand their priorities, because unless you can, and this is for everyone else, by the way, unless you can clearly differentiate your product from what's on the market, and it's not just a price thing, there's very limited value as to why a customer will choose you over the next product.
David, pardon, I'm not getting that. I don't know.
Guys, can anyone else hear me? Can you hear me, Yamungu?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think Jovia has issues with her internet.
Okay. Jovia, I will try to write this out for you, but what you need to do is speak to your customers more, try and understand what their priorities are when they're buying a repellent. And if you can do that, then you can be able to define a very strong value proposition. At this point, I think you might be struggling quite a bit. Okay, let's move on to anyone else. Mo, do you have anything to say about Jovia's operation?
No comments. Thank you, David.
All right. Okay. Next, Ruth Mugisha. Ruth, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Ruth. Did you look at exercise at lesson 3? Sorry, you're not able to attend last week, I remember. Did you get a chance to look at lesson 3?
And not yet. I'll work on it today. I wanted to first get the clue and understand certain things that I have been hearing people responding. At least I've now got some concept on that.
Okay, just to clarify, the main thing here is that you're trying to clearly understand, of course, based on your segmentation, what are your customers' priorities? How do you differentiate yourself? And when you do, what's your value proposition? How do you do your experimentation? By building a minimum viable product. And based on that, what is your elevator pitch? What is that elevator pitch that you use when you're selling, when you're speaking to customers? And the thing is, your elevator pitch has to communicate the value that you create for your customers. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Is anybody else willing to? Okay, I can see your points on the chat, Rona. I did a survey in Wikwe and the farmers told me that they would prefer if I can rent my cold rooms per day or when they need them, as they don't have the money to rent for a month or buy entirely. Secondly, they told me they don't have smartphones to use USSD, which I have to make available to them. This is something costly, but I really want to take it on to make things easier for farmers to come up with something cheaper. The survey was helpful. Realized some farmers will have no problem with middlemen as they prefer those means to sell their products. That's our competitive advantage came in using USSD, yet most of our competitors have applications. We have to help them preserve produce, which others can't. They only link farmers to buyers. Okay, Rona, if I remember right, your product is you're providing solar powered cold rooms for farmers in a way to support post-harvest losses. Okay, I think that's a very interesting product. The first thing you want to look at is what is the farmer's priority, okay, in relation to your product. This is good. These are good questions. I feel like these questions were a bit biased to your product, because you're asking your farmers. See, the fact that you're asking your farmers about, can you rent my room, my cold room? Can you use USSD? These are very directed, biased questions because you're asking them very specific. And I think we did touch that during the segmentation exercise. Your question in this case really around understanding one. Does the problem we're trying to solve relate to you? Right? So you're asking them, fine, for example, how are you handling harvest products? Okay, for example, something like that. Do you lose money when you cannot store your products longer? Is rotting a problem that you're facing? Then you ask, how do you currently store your products? Okay, because you're trying to understand from them what exactly it is. So when you understand how they currently store their products, then you can ask them about, let's say, I don't know, you can ask them how do you think they could be helped to have their products, be stored for longer or keep them longer? So yes, all over the world, centralized storage facilities or central silos and things like that have always been there. Now, the question around this is, I think you want to sort of ask them again, how do they currently communicate with the middlemen? You might find that as opposed to using individual mobile phones for the farmers, maybe you're able to use their groups. So someone in the group at the top can make the request for the produce to be brought to the silo. Many farmers actually have farmer structures, and you can actually work through those as opposed to trying to buy phones, because you start buying phones, it just pushes your fixed cost, your capital expenditure and fixed cost very high, because then you have to buy airtime, you have to buy data. It becomes very expensive for you as a business. The other thing is, the rental structure. If it is going, you setting up and then they come and rent, it's a different business model altogether. So I suggest that you restructure your questions around one, what are their problems clearly, what's their need, how do they currently solve those needs, and maybe you can then see if you can do a prototype. Now, when you put the prototype, the experiment or the MVP in place, you're then targeting a few metrics. One, can they use the USSD? Okay, can they use the USSD? Because you're testing this hypothesis that if I tell you to request delivery or pickup or payment, then you can do it that way. I don't know, I hope I'm making sense, but then I think you need to, after learning from the farmer, set up a trial, do a test, see what the response is like, and then take it on from there. Okay. All right, Rona. Jovia, very quickly, just to get back to you, what I was saying is that you need to speak to your target audiences a bit more so you understand exactly what their challenges are, or rather, how do they currently solve the problem of the repellents? Because otherwise, price only may not be a strong enough differentiator. You need to sort of support with something else. Okay. All right. Mo, do you have any feedback for Rona's business?
No, I exactly agree with what you said, the confirmation bias. And it's just like the interview example we gave in the on what not to do. So yeah, no more feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Guys, you're getting so much support in a room and you're keeping quiet. As an entrepreneur, I think you should be asking every question you possibly might have to ask, because this will help you figure out, what you are working on. Okay, great. So what we can do is this. The rest of you, please, and my apologies as well. I'm also getting the hang of the Aya platform. Please write your responses to the questions on the Aya platform. We shall be giving feedback as well on the platform, and I'm sure now you can get more regular feedback. So all of you can just go write your questions on the Aya platform and get feedback whenever you need it. Okay. Yes, Mo.
Do you colleagues prefer the AI platform, or do you prefer the all Excel sheets? Which one is better?
The AI platform is better than Excel sheet for me.
Okay, good. Any?
Sorry. I think the platform is better. It's better. It gives you an opportunity.
Okay. So this lesson on surveys, do you think we should add it to the one on interviews? Have any of you actually went out and did a survey? You know, the idea is that interviews, you speak to customers, but then you would need more people and you cannot speak. So the advantage of having surveys is that you can reach more people more conveniently, cheaper way. So what do you think? Do you remember the mentor last week? Do you remember how much time she took to collecting feedback from people?
Yeah, she took much time to gather right information.
Do you remember how much time exactly?
I can't tell the real time, but I remember telling her that she took some time, changing the brand, changing the name and whatever.
Yeah, take a guess.
It took her about 2-3 years because she said she started in 2016 and launched the product in 2018. So all that time she was trying to get feedback from customers and try to improve her product.
Exactly. Imagine 2-3 years doing research and interviews and surveys and this kind of thing. So the survey is a better tool because you can disseminate it more widely depending on your target clients. There's an advantage and disadvantage to both. So what do you think from your experience? Do you think we should go away from surveys and then just stick to interviews? Yes, Immaculate, do you want to say something?
Guys, that's a pretty simple question. And I think this is really also for your own good and for the next people coming after this. Do you think we should do surveys or interviews? Or should we say more, it's about should they be bundled together?
Yeah, what do they think? Because I don't think anybody went out and actually did surveys, correct? So maybe we should just focus on talking to customers. What do you think?
Sorry, I'm speaking much, but I'm thinking getting personal with the customers, the end user, is the right thing because it gives you more information than a survey, because surveys require more time, more resources, maybe structured interviews that we might not be in position to develop. But if you know your product and talk to the end user, the customer, I think it can give you rich information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the feedback, Keith. Anyone else? Okay. Can someone explain to me, please, just in the next 10 minutes, let's talk about 2 things. No, 3 things. Can someone explain to me what is the value proposition? Okay, before the value proposition, just to finish on the surveys. So we do surveys to collect data, and David has been touching on identifying the two most important priorities for the customers. Why do we do that? Why talking to the customer, and why focusing on the two most important priorities? Ron, I'm asking, so we do interviews and surveys to collect data from people, from customers, and then we focus on the two most important priorities for this customer in any product. Why do we focus on these two most important priorities? I mean, David has been doing this with you guys for the past hour. So Immaculate, you just answered the question about Marjorie, that she was doing collecting feedback for 3 years. Why was she collecting feedback for 3 years?
Yes, Mo. I think we do these interviews to be able to understand and solve the client's problem, like to put up a product that can really solve the client's challenges or that can really fit the needs of a customer.
Yeah, exactly. It's very simple, no? I don't know why no one is answering. Yes, exactly, Rona. You and Keith are both right. So at the beginning, like John Paul said, we are in the customer's shoes. We put ourselves in the customer's shoes, we develop assumptions, but now we have to go talk to them to verify those assumptions, and then help improve the product. And to do that, you have to differentiate yourself from competitors, right? You have to solve the problem better than current solutions. So to confirm, that's why we choose the two most important priorities for the customer and check whether our product really satisfies these needs better than the competition. Does that make sense? Okay. So what is the value proposition?
This is a very tough class. Guys, come on. Geoffrey, what is the value proposition? What is the value proposition?
It's what you add to your product. Like when you add something, what you do that product, make it more unique. It's a value proposition, according to me.
Yes, exactly. But then you use the two most important priorities for the customer to draft your value proposition. So that's the idea. It's all linked together. I don't know, maybe this didn't come out as strongly in the slides, or something that you guys have missed. I just want to make sure that it's clear. So it's all linked. So you talk to customers, identify priorities, make sure that you satisfy those priorities better than the competition, use that as your value proposition, and then use that to develop a prototype, do some testing. And then that's it. You become rich, you make money. So the elevator pitch, Rona asked about the ask. The ask is basically, once you got someone's attention and you give them the information, there has to be some sort of call to action. What do you want from this person? That is the ask. You don't just tell someone about your product and then expect them to tell you, oh, this is great. I'm going to give you, I don't know, supply. I'm going to give you clientele. I'm going to, no. You ask them exactly what you want. That is basically it. Very simple. It's all common sense. David, I think I'm done. If you don't have anything else, maybe you can end the session and then stay back to discuss the debriefing.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Again, the reason for these sessions are to be able to make sure that we can give you more feedback with the slides that have been shared. Please remember to use the IR platform from now going forward. The questions will be posted there. Next week, we'll have lesson 4, which is around finance and accounting. Actually, I can see our lead trainer for that is actually on the call, and he'll be, leading the session. I will still support you with, I will still lead the, working with Derek, we shall lead the mentor session next week, Friday, and the final feedback session. You will be receiving a notification about a form that you need to use to fill it. Again, it's not double work, but we want to start working towards your business plan structure. So I will share something to help you sort of put the things you've learned from this entire last few weeks together to be able to define your final output. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, remember you can actually ask. I think actually the best thing to do now is please write your questions on the IR platform, and I will personally endeavor to make sure I can check on a daily basis and respond to them. Okay. If there's any other question, please ask. If there's no other question, thank you very much, and feel free to leave a call, and we shall be seeing you on Friday at 3 p.m.
David, have you seen the question in the chat box from Rona?
Yes, please write your answers on the IR platform. Yeah, you can stop recording your Mongo.